Meet Grey Fox, or should I say Agleia, aka the real Grey Fox, because the one that we all know so well, the one that journeyed with us through the network of Gestos, was a simulation after all, and now she's all grown up and looking to claim the throne of Frost. Yes, make no mistake there, as the Witch of Time, our very own Agleia, has awakened now in Tower of Fantasy. So, with Agleia's awakening and her newfound powers of time, how strong is Frost? And what can she do? Let us find out. Agleia is a Frost DPS unit with the traits of Frostbolt Fusion, Frostbolt Resonance, the ability to apply Force Impact, and the usual Shatter and Charge of 16 and 14. Okay. Agleia, the Witch of Time, continues the trend of double DPS attackers alongside Helene, and has the capability of doing single main DPS for those that want to pair her with your altered units or pure buffers in the backend. Spoken like a true hacker. Her combos are in fact really simple despite the big wall of text you see when you check out her skills. As single main DPS, you want to use her skill and perform normal attacks while using her secondary skills whenever they're available. Think of it as similar to Linksys, who also taps into sub-skills between intervals. If pairing with Helene as dual DPS partners, you want to start off with Lana's skill into Helene, performing her normal attacks into the bear combos, and once the big bear slap is done, swap to Agleia, use her skill, and perform her normal attack combos while casting those sub-skills when available. Main skill into normal attacks and sub-skill 2. Once you see yourself launched into the air, continue attacks into sub-skill 3 and a couple more normal attacks into the final sub-skill 3 to conclude the rotation. That's the basis of her attack sequence. Now, let's look at her in-depth skill descriptions. Agleia's skill is connected by 3 branches, main skill and 2 sub-skills. Upon casting her main skill, your normal attack combos will unlock her sub-skill 2, and by using that, you'll be propelled into the air and the next set of normal attacks will unlock sub-skill 3. Upon using that, continue the normal attacks until the sub-skill 3 is up again and use it to conclude the rotation. By using Agleia, there is a unique energy bar below your buffs that increases and decreases depending on the skills and combos you perform while doing Agleia's rotations. The yellow bar increases when you cast a skill and perform her normal attacks. Once you reach max gauge, the second skill is available, and upon using that sub-skill, the bar changes to a white color gauge and further aerial attacks unlock a reddish gauge. With this, you can now cast her sub-skill 3, and remember, you finish it off with a few more normal attacks and another sub-skill 3. See? The red gauge is present again. So in total, you get to use 2 of her sub-skill 3 in close proximity for a full rotation. Once you've gotten a hang of her rotations, you don't really need to look at the energy bar. You can just look at her sub-skills and also skill cooldown timers to prepare yourself for her skills. Seasoned veterans will know what I'm talking about, but for new players, take your time in getting used to her energy bar and skill cooldown correlation, and remember, perfect practice makes the perfect rotations. Agleia's skill deals big AoE damage to nearby targets and applies Force Impact on them. Finally, a Frost DPS that has this in them. Wow! At the same time, you gain Hyper Body for 25 seconds with a cooldown of 25 seconds as well. Basically, always on. In this mode, your normal attacks stack energy to unlock your sub-skill 2, as mentioned earlier, and this sub-skill 2 also does big AoE damage to nearby enemies, and your aerial attacks stack energy to unlock your sub-skill 3. It's important to stress that you need to perform aerial attacks to unlock the sub-skill 3. Every 3 attacks will unlock the sub-skill. It's a good thing when pressing the sub-skill 2 will automatically launch you into the air, so you just have to continue normal attacking the target. And I know, you may accidentally plunge attack sometimes, but well, get used to it, my guys. Her normal attacks are the usual 4-hit combos, and when you're doing the 4th hit, casting another normal attack will animation cancel it into the second normal attack move. So what you're essentially doing is attacks 1, 2, 3, 4 and then 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4 as long as you cancel out the 4th hit's animation. Her aerial attacks are tied to the second sub-skill. Without using that sub-skill, you're not able to do attacks in the air. Once casting the sub-skill 2, remember white gauge on the energy bar, you can then do her aerial attack combos, and similar to the normal attack methods, you can animation cancel the sub-skill tree and connect it to one more aerial attack combo into another sub-skill tree for maximum damage. In layman terms, just normal attack until her sub-skill appears and use them accordingly. That's probably the easiest way of explaining it, I guess. Her dodge attack, wait, I don't think she has a default dodge attack. Instead, dodging and using attacks will trigger her normal attack combo. I guess this could be useful in closing down enemies that move a lot into your normal attack sequence. Her discharge is a little bit different from all previous units before her. Agleia's discharge has a 5.4 second invulnerability period, or iframe in short, that is a lot. And another interesting mechanic is you get to cancel the discharge by using her skill. Similar to some of the altered units Void Piercer and Lana, although Agleia's discharge will lose her ability once you use her skill, so you won't get any damage from it and no immunity as well. It is, however, really good for faster rotations because you don't need to jump cancel like before. Just cast your skill and walk away. Cast your skill, walk away. Agleia has a unique movement tech. By holding down directional dodge, Agleia will mount her broom and fly around freely. It's a broom, right? Or is it an arrow? This movement feels very much like how Antoria flies about because you can now move up and down, not only horizontal flight like her younger version, making Agleia one of the must-have exploration units in your team. What she does better than Antoria would be the speed of flight, slightly faster if you compare them one-to-one, and she can hover in mid-air without consuming energy. Pretty cool! Pressing the jump key will soar up into the air at the expense of using more stamina, and by using dodge, you'll get out of the flight mode. Pressing the attack button will do a plunge instead. The second part of her movement tech is when you hold down the attack button while jumping in mid-air, Agleia will enter a scope mode where you drain energy to search for targets. And what does this do? By locking onto a target and releasing the hold, you'll teleport into the target instantly. I kid you not. Into the target, y'all. Man, woman, human, bosses, boxes, whatever.
Even that goddamn underground trade.
Crazy.
Anyway, as long as you can target them, you can enter them. Naturally, if your stamina is depleted or the target is eliminated, you will be ejected immediately. I find it super funny playing around with this mode, but the good thing is, you'll move accordingly to where your target goes. I'm sure some players will find a really good way to abuse this feature. You go. Trait-wise, Agleia does not benefit DPS with a 4K trait. Instead, it reduces stamina consumption when using her movement tech. That scope mode target scanning thing? Yeah, that one. For meta teams, you'll still use Helene's trait for Frost, and if you're using the altered team of Void Piercer, Agleia and Lana, you'll have to use Void Piercer's trait for that team. There aren't many other useful traits for Frost if you don't have Helene, Void Piercer or Lynxis on the teams, so the only option you'll have is probably Agleia's trait if you're new and looking to pair her with the standard banner options. Not recommended, but we make do with what we have, yeah? On the relic side, the preferred relic of choice would be the buff dealer at minimum 2 stars, best performance being 5 stars. Second relic would be the Battle Eye Mark II at minimum 2 stars, best performance being 5 stars. Other relics, such as the rifle, Mask, Bubble Gun are all usable if you don't have the Mark II or buff dealer. F2P players can still go with the Koan 2 stars and Omnium Shield 5 stars in place of those premium relics. Agleia's matrices are pretty strong, but not Saladin levels of strong. Oof. Her 2-piece buffs a lot of frost attack percent and her 3rd subskill damage multipliers by a fair bit. Her 4-piece buffs a lot of frost damage percent, and when you equip her weapon on the team, you gain additional final damage buffs as well. All of these buffs work in the background because frost units typically rely on background damage buffs most of the time. Now, if resources are scarce, you do have the option of skipping her matrices entirely and opt for strong background matrices like Yano 2-piece, 2-piece Samir, 2-piece Cobalt B if you're using Agleia as your main DPS. I do, however, still recommend you get 2-piece Agleia as a base because 2-piece sets aren't that difficult to acquire, and at the very least, you can still pair them with one set of on-field matrices. Not the best, but just enough to work in the background when you swap off to other units. Similar to recent units, Agleia can both main DPS and dual DPS with some of the latest weapons. The meta team of Agleia, Helene and Lana is the go-to frost team for the highest possible damage. Agleia will take up the most on-field time, while Helene comes in with her big burst damage and Lana supplementing background damage with her assist attacks. You can also interchange Lana with Void Piercer in the event you don't have Lana, as the altered units are similar in function. Speaking of altered, the team of Agleia, Void Piercer and Lana is pretty decent for those who have well-built altered units with Agleia as your main, on-field DPS and the other two buffing behind the scenes. For free-to-play or new players that have obtained Agleia, best you can pair her with is Yano and Yulan from the standard pool, but Frost has always worked well with altered units and Agleia is no exception. Plan your pulls and do try to get Lana or Void Piercer as an alternative support to your team. It's worth it. Looking at the DPS charts, the meta team of Agleia, Helene and Lana puts Frost back on the top of the charts with the altered Agleia team following suit behind. Helene, Agleia and Void Piercer is also an option because both Lana and Void Piercer basically perform the same role for Frost. Lynxis can still be used as a buffer, but her damage is starting to fall off where the meta is concerned. Young Grey Fox and S6 Fiona are somewhat usable provided you have them at maxed investments, and all other teams are generally not recommended to pair with Agleia. In terms of damage comparison, Agleia's team raises the ceiling for Frost about 20 to 22% increment over the old Frost team, but somehow doesn't feel super strong in my opinion. Comparing element on element, Agleia does not perform stronger than a fully maxed out Saladin Flame team, but both are hard to compare in nature. Frost will generally do better in team games, and Saladin is somewhat broken in her own right anyway. FaZe and Volt are the usual suspects, waiting for the next generation of units to change up their progression. As of now, Frost is somewhat decent, but remember, this is purely based on test server data. We'll see if anything changes when we go live. Agleia's 1-star increases frost damage percentage and also increases the energy obtained from her normal attacks, essentially shortening the time needed to reach her sub-skills. This advancement gives approximately 11% damage increment compared to a 0-star base weapon. Her 3-star gives resistance threat, which is really good for new players that obtained her. It also gives you a form of healing when you're under effects of your sub-skills. Pretty good for survivability. Her 5-star increases frost damage percentage and further reduces the time needed to trigger her 3rd sub-skill from her aerial attacks, making this advancement important for a smooth rotation. It also increases the multipliers for her sub-skill. Agleia's 6-star is pure damage oriented, increasing a lot of final damage alongside frost damage percentage. There is another effect tied to this advancement, allowing Agleia to freeze mobs around her with a skill for 2 seconds, but does not work on bosses anyway. So, the main point of this advancement is a big DPS increment, likely 30 to 35% total damage increment over the 5th star. Recommendations wise, you want to prioritize 1, 3 and 6 star for her. 1 star definitely boosts her rotation and damage, while 3 star gives you the resistance shred, which is so important in our current TOF landscape. As mentioned, her 5 star really lets you perfect her rotations, and if you've managed to reach 5 star, it's always recommended to finish her off and complete the 6 star journey. Unless you're not really a Frost main, or if resources are scarce, then one base copy of Agleia is good enough for her movement tech and character collection purposes. So good. Agleia awakens in time to complete our Kylo story arc and reunite with us while opening up a whole new chapter in Tower of Fantasy. Being the latest DPS for Frost, she plays an important part in shaping the team for our next generation of units in the future. At the very least, she presents Frost with a brand new omnidirectional movement kit and a beautiful skin to look out for. What do you think of Agleia? Is she the one you've been waiting for, or will you be looking forward to the new generation of units to come? Only time will tell. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see y'all in the next one.